So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to unbox and try out this children's sewing machine. There are not a lot of them to choose from. I went shopping for some, and I went online and actually, you know, local stores, and this is the one that I found most everywhere, so it's pretty easy to find. So if it does work out, then you'll be able to buy it easily online. So that was one plus, that I wanted to get a machine that we could try out for little kids to use, and hopefully it's a good starter machine. I mean, it's a children's sewing machine. It's not like it's going to do big heavy duty work, but it's a good way to introduce a child to sewing and crafting and you know, things like that. My personal preference would be an older sewing machine that actually plugs up. This one is battery operated, so we're just going to see how effective that is, because that can you know, have a lot to do with how good the motor runs. And so anyway, we're just going to open it up and get started and see what's in the box and read some instructions, and then I'll try to make something with it. So right out of the box, we've got, I guess this is an instruction manual. It is. Just a little bit of information on how to use the machine. There is some cotton batting and some, I want to say this said non-woven fabric, and it's kind of, it's not real fabric. It's not something you're gonna, it's like what those cheap grocery store bags are made out of, the reusable bags. And then there is a tape measure and a piece to thread the needle. So let's see. I'm really hoping that this little pedal will touch the floor. Well, let's see what's in here. This might be a little accessories drawer. It is. And then we've already got 3 spools of thread that are up here in this little compartment. Oh, I didn't even pull that tape off. The white thread, it looks like, is already threaded to the machine. I read somewhere that this machine does not have a bobbin. I don't know how it's going to sew if it doesn't. It probably doesn't have a bobbin. It says here to bind off the stitching, please tie the loose ends in a tight knot. This will prevent the project from coming undone. Yeah, I'm not liking that already. Let's see what we got here. It has a safety guard for the needle, which is good for little fingers, because I'm pretty sure this is a real needle. So I'm not going to do a project on this that's in here, I don't think. We'll just see what's in there first. Maybe I'll just do like a little pillow just to demonstrate the stitching. Now we're going to have a look at this instruction guide. It's always good to read the guide, even if it doesn't seem like it's going to be very helpful. It says for ages 8+. My little granddaughter Lexi is 8 years old, so... First thing, of course, we're going to want to do is install the batteries, and I'll do that and before I start stitching. And it looks like it has a light, a presser foot. I'm just not so sure how this is going to stitch with no bobbin. Anyway, let's just install the batteries, and what I'm going to do is cut out a simple little piece with these non-wovens that came with it. And the good thing about this is, if this machine works out and you can, you know, get this to introduce your child to sewing, this non-woven stuff is really cheap. So I mean, it's not gonna cost you a whole lot of money to get a hold of it. So I'm gonna cut out a couple of little squares to make just like a little pillow, and I'll install the batteries, and I'm gonna come back and we're gonna sew on it and see how it does. So I have got the batteries installed, and it has an on switch here, which basically turns on the light. And I've got 2 pieces of this woven fabric, and I am going to try my best to stitch this. The foot pedal does reach the floor, so that's good. I don't have high expectations for this. I don't know if y'all can see that. And that's actually set on a zigzag stitch, so let's just see what we have. And it's stuck. Okay, that doesn't even look like a zigzag. Maybe the tension is just a little tight. You just have to remember, if you're working with your little one with this machine, that you're going to have to tie off the stitches. I'm not doing that here. So I'm putting it on straight stitch, and I've let that tension loose just a little bit because I feel like it's really tight. Yep. Tension too loose, it's not going to sew at all. So let's just tighten that tension up a little bit more. It's going to sew a little better there, but it's actually skipping a whole lot of stitches. I'm not sure what it's sticking on underneath there. It's definitely sticking on something. I pulled the needle all the way up. Yeah, see, if you pull too hard, you're going to pull those stitches right out. So then this is basically what I ended up with. It pulled the stitches out. This one, for some reason, seems to be stuck in there. I'm not sure why, but it's stuck. There is no bobbin, which makes no sense, even for a child's machine. If it's really going to sew, it needs to really sew. And that bobbin is what binds the stitching together. So without it, you're going to have a really frustrated child. For under $20, you're going to get a machine that will sort of sew. It's not going to make any completed projects. This plate here underneath the needle, there's a hole for the needle to go up and down, and it's catching on something inside there. And there's no way to open this or get to that to figure out what it is so that you can resolve the issue. But anyway, it's cute. It makes cute little noises. So anyway, that's my little take on this made by me sewing machine. If you do actually want to purchase one, you just, you know, it's like I said, it's cheap. I mean, you can go on eBay, which I'm currently doing. I'm trying to find a child's machine that's one of the older models. And you can get an older machine that actually has a plug that plugs into the wall, and it does straight stitch. It has all the components, and I have heard that they're great, so I'm looking for one. And as soon as I do, I would like to do a review on that and even try that. In the meantime, this is just a toy. And I don't understand why so many of the reviews for this machine online got people so hurt. It's $19. For $19, you cannot expect your child to be making these little projects right out of the box. It's not going to do it. And if you look at these, this is extremely deceptive because these are hand stitched. There's no way that that is a machine stitch. Those are hand stitched with embroidery floss. So I mean, you know, I feel like that's really super deceptive because that is obviously was not sewn with a sewing machine anyway. But I mean, it's a nice toy. It's a cute toy. For that price, that's what you're getting. You're getting a toy that looks and sounds and sort of kind of feels like the real thing. It has really no weight to it. It's a little heavy, but that's because I put batteries in it. But it's just a toy. It does all of the, it goes through all of the motions, but it doesn't actually, it's not actually going to sew anything. So anyway, there you go. Made by me. I'll post a link to it if you actually do want to purchase it. Because like I said, I mean, it's a start for the very young future sewist in your family. But I do recommend for a child that you use a child's machine, even if it's antique. And you always supervise your children. I don't know why people even have to say that. I would never set my child loose with anything that has sharp objects in it that they could possibly hurt themselves. Children will always find a way to get through things like this. So if you do purchase it, it needs to be in mommy and daddy's room or mommy's room or whatever. And when they're using it, you need to be with them because there is a sharp needle in there. So anyway, that's it, y'all. Peace. Bye-bye.